Okay, silver. Actually, silver. I'm going to start with the weekly chart. There is no question from the silver weekly chart that we are in anything but a bear trend, as you can see. The only question now is, will we hold the 27 low at 1486? We are at 1513 was the low the week before last. I don't really see that as significant support, but it is the only level to watch in silver as we become oversold on the weekly chart. There's certainly nothing telling me to buy silver, which is kind of good because I do see gold as quite negative. It would be confusing if one contradicted the other. In the short term, silver actually looks more negative than gold, there's no question of that. Now, another consolidation phase. Silver against the US dollar is consolidating. It's trading sideways, which if you're a scalper is great news because you just get to sell it in the low 1560 area and see if you can buy it 50 or sorry, not 50. See if you can buy it around sort of the mid-range here, which would be around 1540, 1530. You can see kind of hovers around there sometimes, and then obviously down around 1515 you've got to watch. Don't know if I'd be buying it there because the outlook is quite negative, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a break below there and at least trading down to 1490, 1480, which is that 2017 low. A move back up through 1570 would be positive in the short term for obvious reasons, but this isn't a very exciting chart. I think the only real opportunity here is just to keep selling it around 1560, 1570 and see if you can nick a few ticks out of that on the day. WTI crude, this is the chart, this is the daily chart. The weekly chart doesn't tell me an awful lot, but actually, having said that, there is one thing to tell you. So, 500 week moving average held. I did decide to short this, you might remember, when I saw the 500 week moving average. Well, it was overrun, but anyway, then we came up to this trend line and we were getting short up here. Crude oil sold off to the 23.6% fib at 67.43 and held. Now, I think crude will go lower, but this chart doesn't excite me an awful lot. I suppose I could hold a small short position. You can see how the trend line here going back to February held on the bounce back last week, and then we got this big red candle on Friday. The 100-day moving average and the 23.6% fib around that mid $67 area has certainly done a great job. In fact, the $100-day moving average has probably been the most accurate support level. So obviously, this is the level to watch. Mid $67 area. We start breaking below 6700, and this is going to be a sell, probably down as far as 65.5. If you trade oil, that's what I would use as your basis. And if you want to get short, if we manage to bounce up to the sort of 70-50 area, that would certainly be a great level to sell, although I'd be surprised if we see it because it does look quite negative. So those are the levels. 67.50, 67.40. If you get to sell it at 70.50, that would also be cool. And if you are short and we break 67.00, look for 65.50. They're all in the half areas, isn't it? 70.5, 67.5, 65.5. E-mini S&P. Now, I don't focus on this much, and there's a reason for it. It's just not been a great market to try. I used to love the E-mini S&P. It used to be my favorite market, but it got difficult. Until this year, it was just going up, and that's just boring. It was very boring if you were long, but anyway, on a day-to-day basis, there just wasn't that much to do. There was very low volatility. It just kept crawling up. So I lost focus. I did write reports, and people do seem to like them. This is getting more interesting now. I told you on Friday or maybe even Thursday morning that I thought this would turn lower because we'd got significantly overbought, because we'd hit this trend line, and hey presto, on Friday we really had quite a significant move lower, wiping out at least those that Wednesday's gain anyway. Now, I'm going to have to just open this chart up. Give me a sec. No, I'll just throw the fibs on here. Right, let me open this up, make it clearer. This is our focus now. Okay, so you can see we're in this rising channel. We topped as I suspected, and we have turned lower. Note how we've held a 23.6% fib at 28.12. The low was 08, I think, 08, 09. Now we could just trade sideways for a little bit. We could just have a little topping pattern in between these two parameters. But if we break below 2800, I think we'll go to 2790 quite quickly, maybe 2780. So watch that 2790, 80 area. I would be tempted to buy it there. This is not I'm not talking about a potential stock market crash here, not yet, but there should be some good downside. If we were to get as low as this trend line or the 55-day moving average, we'll be buying it down here, but we'll worry about that if we ever get there. Okay, so watch those two levels that we can trade in between there, but more importantly is, and I guess I'll have to show you the weekly chart for that. I do wonder, note the volatility. When you get volatility in markets, especially when we've had a really big run, volatility is part of an indication that the stock markets are going to top. Now, admittedly, there's been less volatility in the last 3 months, but even that on the weekly basis has been more volatile than we've seen through 2016 and 2017. So this is a period of volatility. When you get volatility, it can often signal a peak of a stock market. Now I'm wondering, is this a big double top? 28.78 was the peak, the all-time high. We got to 28.49. Now I know that's still 30 points away from the high, but I would count that as a double top on the weekly chart. It's still too early to be piling out of stocks or into a short. I would like to see a little short-term pattern on the daily chart here as well for some sort of confirmation. I'm just wondering, is this a big double top pattern? Don't forget, this is the second longest bull run in history and very close to the longest bull run in history. I don't know how far further we have to go before it will be the longest bull run in history. But anyway, yeah, I'm really almost excited at this. I wonder if this is a double top, and I wonder whether we start trading this from the short side and see this start to turn lower. And if it is a bear market, there'll be a lot of money to be made if we get this timing right. It won't be easy, because when markets collapse, you get these massive bounce back within them. I have traded bear markets. I've been doing this for 30 years. I started in 1987, so I've seen every crash since 1987, and there's been a heck of a lot of them, and they're great fun, but they're not easy. You can't just sit on a short and wait. Anyway, we'll see what happens. It's just a thought in my head that I wanted to mention. If you are long stocks, you might want to be careful. It's entirely possible that is a big longer term double top sell signal, but I'll wait for confirmation. This is actually a little negative pattern, not particularly significant. It would help if that was a little bit higher up and it was a doji, but we'll see if it breaks 2800, and there might be another 10-20 points in that trade, and then we'll have to figure out what's going on. Bitcoin. I don't know how many of you trade Bitcoin. I don't trade it very actively, but I do stick the odd half a sort of 50p a point position on just for fun. This is actually an amazingly technical market. It literally, it just holds its fib levels, it holds its trend lines, can't get my words out. It holds its moving averages. It's possibly one of the best technical markets I've ever seen. And I've got to redraw these fibs. Let me just do that for a second. There are only a few pips out, but I like to be mega accurate. Okay, here we go. Now then, this resistance line obviously did its job. And when I saw that red candle, I thought, bang, we're going to go lower, but we didn't. We broke above it, and then we used it as a support. Then we got through the 100-day moving average, and we rocketed up to this trend line here and 200-day moving average. We rejected it. We came back down to the 23.6% fib at 7,800. Now we're having a move back up. I really hope that we retest the 200-day moving average at around 8,500, maybe even get to the trend line at 8,700. Anywhere between 85 and 87 is going to be strong resistance. And we're overbought. We are in a bear trend. Everyone's getting bullish about Bitcoin again just because we happen to have gone up for a month. I love reading all that rubbish on Twitter. These guys who are just desperate to get rich quick, can't be bothered to do a day's work, think by owning Bitcoin they're going to be multi-millionaires. I just don't see it. Now, the trend line here, maybe I'm wrong, and I have challenged people on Twitter. Please tell me why I need to own this, and not one person has given me a solid reason to own Bitcoin. I just stick with the charts. The charts tell me that you don't want to own Bitcoin. You know, if we were to break above 8,700, 8,800, well, yeah, okay, then I've got a buy signal, fair enough. But until that happens, we're in a bear trend, and when we struggle at every resistance level, so there is no reason to be buying this. This is the trend line. It's an important trend line. It goes back to July 2017, which in Bitcoin terms is a hell of a long time ago. And I just don't see us breaking above it. We certainly didn't last time. I hope we get a chance to sell it again. I got out of my longs here, but I didn't turn around and get straight into a short position. I thought I'd just wait, and I was wrong to do that. So I'm hoping I get a second chance to sell it here. It's definitely a trade worth doing. Selling into a strong resistance level in a bear trend is exactly what you're supposed to do as a trader. And if you stop above, say, 8,800, it's a very, very low risk, which if it works, is going to be a great trade because it's going to be back around 7,800. And if we dip back below the 7,600, 100-day moving average, we'll probably be retesting the trend line down here around 71.50. There you go. That's Bitcoin for you. Good luck, and I'll be posting my reports as usual early on Monday morning.